Hi everyone, this is the first part of a series of tutorials I will be doing on the layout design software AnyRail. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I am going to be able to assume that you can download AnyRail just like any other software on installing it. So go ahead and get it installed, um, and there might be some updates. Go ahead and get those done, and then you'll be ready here. You'll get a little icon like this right here. We'll go ahead and open up the program, and this is what you're gonna. We'll close this out here. All right, so this is what it's gonna kind of look like. More likely, you may get this. It says updates for AnyRail 6 are available, so go ahead and download and install those. We'll go ahead and let this do its thing, and you'll end up needing to close it. So while it's doing this, you can go ahead and close the program out because it can't be opened while it's doing updates. So go ahead and let it do its thing, and then we'll pause here on the video and then come back once it gets done. Okay, now we're at the point now where the update is completed. Make sure this launch AnyRail. It doesn't matter. I'd always have it clicked here for the launch AnyRail 6. Hit the finish, and then it's going to version 23. Wow. All right, so here we are. As mentioned before, we are going to go over the basics. This is the kind of the starter tutorial. All right, so once you've opened up AnyRail, we need to make a few adjustments prior to starting any kind of layout work. So first thing you want to do is you want to go over here to settings, which I'm already on the settings tab here. We want to make sure we set a few things up before we even start. So this program, I believe, was designed by a British gentleman. So we have to try to kind of change a few things. If you start out, it's probably going to be right here on the metric decimal units. I personally use the English fractional units. Feel free to use metric system if you want, whatever you're most comfortable with. I leave the precision at 1/32 of an inch. Yeah, it's pretty small. All right, so next thing, your work area here. So this here, the length and width, that's what your overall grid here. That's the size of your work surface. Now that can be increased or decreased as you start designing your layout. You kind of to be able to tweak the size as you go on. So we'll just go ahead and I got it at 300 and 500, so you can put it at that for starters. Okay, so now the grid size, that's going to be these gray lines here. I put that at 12 because that will basically, so we put in 12, hit enter. Now every single one of these gray lines, it's a 1-foot grid. So that way visually you know kind of what you're working with. Excuse me. All right, so sizes, these I've never really messed with, so I'll just leave that. When you first start out, it's going to have alert on flex too long. You want to take that off. You do not need that, so go ahead and take that off. But you do want to keep the alert on for sharp curves, or too sharp of a curve. This is very essential. So they've added a kind of a new thing here. They've got multiple minimum radius. You want this minimum radius 1. In here, I've got 30-inch minimum. That's what we have here on the high desert division. So whatever your minimum radius, that's what you want to put in here. If you're doing in scale, that's going to be that's going to be different versus what you're going to do in HO. So I've got this in HO. I'm setting this up for HO scale. O scale or S. This is going to change depending on the scale that you're wanting. So tolerances, I just leave these alone. So you got slopes or grade. So I got the maximum grade set at 2.5 inches. I don't know what's in there at the beginning, because once you make changes to these settings, that's what it will stay at. It basically saves them for you. Yeah, put whatever what your maximum percent grade is in there. Track, you want to leave these auto connect and allow mixed rails. You want those. So if you like the allow mixed rails is if you're going, let's say your main line's code 83 and you want your sighting to be code 70, um, it will allow that connection point. If this is not checked, it will not allow you to use other code rail. Mix it like 83 and 70. This one, snap to grid. You want to make sure that's clicked. Right now I've got it at 1/4 inch. I'll leave it at that. This is from when you start putting in shapes and whatnot, shapes and lines to make it snap to actually what this grid is. And then I've got it at 1/4 inch. You can change this depending on how picky you want to be, or precise. I guess that would be the correct word to say. Okay, so we got our settings set. The next thing we want to do is actually go here, click the File tab. We want to go down here to Options. Once we get here down to the options, we want to look here at the libraries. So we'll go ahead and click on that. Now you're going to see all of the displayed libraries in the different scales. All of these will be checked. So you're going to want to go through and uncheck every single one of them and select the scale that you're going to be modeling. Like I mentioned before, I've got HO checked right here. You know, if you're doing S or G or whatever be N scale. So go ahead and click that. And then you want to click the miscellaneous. You want to have that stuff. And one that I don't have clicked, symbols. Go ahead and click that one. So miscellaneous and symbols always, and then whatever scale you're going with. I mean, they even got Lego. Once you get that done, we'll go ahead and hit done. You can later on you can look at these things. This user objects. This is where your user objects that you design, where they're located. I just leave that alone. Just let it save it where it's at and it remembers. Anyway, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and hit done. So those are the two big things you gotta do before you start. All right, so let's go to the Home tab here. So the next thing I want to discuss is layers. This is just like AutoCAD, where you can have things in multiple layers that you can turn on and turn off. If you're starting to do a big layout, you can have multiple. Having multiple layers makes it simple to tweak and work on. So what we're going to do for this intro, we've got layer 1 here. So we can go ahead and if you double click it with your left mouse button, as you can see there, I'm able to change it. So we're going to go ahead and just go and change this to track. So there's our track layer. We're going to go ahead and add a layer. So we're going to click the add layer button here, and then double click on the where it says layer 2. Let's change this to structures. Okay. Now, we will be adding more layers in other videos as we get more advanced. But we'll just start with these 2 layers. Now, as you can see, the structures is highlighted in green. This is your main layer, your current active layer. So anything you add on your work surface is going to be put underneath the structures layer. But we're going to go ahead and start with track work. So we're going to double click that. Now, you see this little light bulb right here? That's going to also show me that currently I have got the structure layer active, even though I'm actually working on the track one. So this is, you don't need a double click, you just single click. So if I don't want the structure layer on right now, you just click the light bulb and it shuts it off. If you just click it again, and it will turn that layer back on. So that is layers. 3D view, I have not messed with this. Sorry, and if I had, that would be more of a advanced level tutorial. Okay, so open use libraries. These are libraries that you have used in the past, and we'll go into that because we've got track libraries, object libraries, and user objects. Okay, let's go and start with the track libraries. Now, with this tab, remember back when we went to the file and options that we only selected whatever scale it was that we were working on? Well, that's what's showing right here. That whatever your scale that you're working on is going to show right here. Otherwise, if we had all of them clicked, they'd all be up here. So it kind of gets, we're trying to kind of keep it clean while we're working. And then here's the miscellaneous items that that we also clicked, and symbols. There's different symbols like this that you may want to use later on. But anyway, so these are what are active in our track libraries. And so let's look at the HO here. So as you can see, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here for track. Pretty much almost anything that is made. With Atlas and Microengineering, Walters, fast tracks. Everything is specific. So, and I'll show you an instance of this. Excuse me. Let's go to fast tracks here. We're going to go HO scale. As you can see here, fast tracks also has HO in 3. If you're doing narrow gauge, you can use those. But in this case, we're just doing standard. So we'll go ahead and click on that. And as you see here, we have an entire library of everything Fast Tracks currently makes. Now, they don't have, no, Fast Tracks will actually make a custom jig for somebody. Those are not included in here, but these are the ones that are standard that you can buy currently off their website. Well, they got the templates there too. I'm a big proponent of Fast Track. So anyway, so we're going to go ahead. Let's put in here this is a number 6 left hand. So we'll go ahead and click that. And then voila, we got a number 6 fast track turnout. If you put your mouse over it, you will see down here, you'll see lots of information down here. You'll see where your grid, where your mouse currently is. You'll see what that part actually is right here. So there we go. We got the number 6 HO fast tracks, minimum length, left hand turnout. All the information that is tied to that turnout is down there at the bottom. All right, so we got this number 6 left hand. Now, like I said, these turnouts are brand specific, so it's exactly what it is you put in there, exactly what you plan on using. So, whoops, sorry about that. We'll leave that fast track library up. So let's go over here to Atlas. Let's pick a number 6 Atlas. Now with Atlas, you got to know what the number is of that turnout. But if you highlight over top of it, I think it's no, that's a number 4. And that's a number 8. What do we got here? Here we go. So Atlas 563 is a code 83, number 6 left-hand turnout. So we'll go ahead and click on that. Now you can see the difference. So if you planned on using Atlas and you decided in your plan to start using fast track turnouts, it's not going to be right. Everything is not going to be laid out like you're thinking, or like it shows in your plan. So definitely use the brand specific of turnout and track that you plan on actually building with. So there we got that. So with the High Desert Division, we are doing all fast track turnouts. So we'll keep that there. And then we're using Atlas's code 83 flex, which is number 500, 36-inch flex. So we'll click on that. So now we got a piece of that up there. We're going to go ahead and delete. You can, if you want to delete a piece, do a right-hand click. It comes up with this pop-up menu, and where you can actually rotate. You can flip it, glue it, yeah, glue it means if you glue something, you cannot move it. It is in place, and then you can also remove the glue if you need to. I'll show a good use of that in one of the advanced tutorial videos. So we're going to go over here and just delete it. There. You can also click on it and use the delete key. That also works as well. So we're going to go ahead and close out this library for Atlas code 83. So there. Now we got our Atlas piece. So let's talk about the flex track here. This is a 36-inch piece of flex. Now we all know. So in building it, you connect multiple different flex pieces together. But instead of doing that, what you want to do is you can go up here. You got when you click on it, this menu automatically all comes up. So we're going to go over here to this side here. We got straight flex, curve flex, and an easement flex. So we're going to go here to flex track or straight flex. We're going to click on that, and you can determine the length of what you want that piece of track to be. So in this case, let's just put 60 inches. And hit OK. So now we know that this piece of flex is 5 foot long or 60 inches. Now, obviously they don't sell it that way, so you got a 3-foot piece and a 2-foot piece that are joined together here somewhere, but you don't need to necessarily reflect that in your layout plan. Because if you click on this piece of track, you see down here at the bottom, it'll tell you exactly what it is, and right here it'll tell you how long that piece is, 60 inches. So we're going to go ahead and connect this to the number 6 turnout that we have here. As you bring it closer, you're going to see 2 blue dots. There we go. It's showing you where that is going to be connected. So we want it connected here. There we go. And you let go. Now this little white dot, also one other point, down here is where you can zoom in and zoom out. So we'll click the plus to, or you can actually click and drag that little mark there if you want. There, we'll zoom in a little bit. That way you can see it a little bit better. There. Okay, so this white dot, that's the connection point. If you click on that connection point, so you can lock the height, you can set the height. This is where your slope comes in. And also this is, you want to, if you're looking at 3D model or 3Ding it, you also eventually want to set the height. But we're just gonna go with basics here. So that's your connection point. Yeah, and we'll also talk about add isolator later. Excuse me. All right, so let's make a passing siding. So let's add another turnout over here. So we need a number 6. Well, normally on a main line, let's go ahead and delete that number 6. Let's go with a number 8. Number 8 is good for a main line. So we'll go ahead. Again, there's your blue dots, and you just click on it, hold the. Let's go ahead, and you can also disconnect. That's key. So now those two are disconnected, and I can move it. If I tried moving it with it connected, it's going to move both pieces. So let's go ahead and disconnect. When you want to move a piece, you click on it with your left mouse button, keep it held down, and then you can move it wherever you want to. So we'll go ahead and connect it. Now we need a number 8 right hand. Now we need to get this thing flipped. So you can right click on the turnout. Got this rotate. So click on the rotate. You can either type in your angle, or you can use these incremental angles that they've got here. So we're just going to hit 90 twice. Once, 2, and now we got our turnout oriented in the right direction. So we're going to slide over a little bit here, and we're going to click and drag and connect that up. All right. Now we've got turnouts for both ends of our siding. So now we need to add our siding track. Some people use 2 inches between track centers. And some people use, in my case, I'm using 3-inch. That way it allows space for placement of signals. So we're going to go ahead and click on this piece of track with the left mouse button. And we're going to click this button here. It says Add Parallel Flex. So we're going to click that, and it's going to ask, okay, what is the distance I want to add this parallel flex, and where do I want to add it? Do I want to add it above it, below it, to the right, or to the left? In this case, we want to do above. Like I mentioned, 3-inch. You can put whatever your distance is. Hit OK. Now it's going to automatically add a parallel flex to that one at 3 inches on track center. Now I'm going to show one other option now that we've got that in place. If you go up here to show, this is kind of gives you different views of while you're designing your layout. So let's go over here to this first box. We got centerline, track, and sleepers. Sleepers are referred to, we call them ties here. So when we go to centerline, it will give you a centerline view of your track. So if you like to design your layout in the centerline view, then go ahead and click that and keep it on that. If you want the track view, which I had here, that's there. And then sleepers, if you want the tie view, you also have that. So we'll go over here to back to track. Next one, we got roadbed and trace. So if you want, let's say if you like this with the ties in there, you click the roadbed. It's actually going to add your Coke or Homosote, whatever, cork, not Coke, cork roadbed, or Homosote, whatever your roadbed is. There, now we got it showing. We'll go ahead and take that off. And then we can also, we've got hidden track and visible track. And then that depends. We'll go into that later. And then you got a whole bunch of other things that this is what it's going to show as you're designing. So if you want to see the slope percentages, you can do that. If you want to see the height, you can click on that. Vertical clearance, I mean, you can, as you go on, if it's glued or not. Endpoints, connections, that's those white dots we talked about earlier. Tunnels, control points, track control. Reverse loops. Yeah, for the most part, I leave these things alone. The only ones I'm really messing with sometimes are these ones, and that'll be a more an advanced video. But I wanted to show that you can have different views depending on your design, what works best for you. All right, so we're going to go back here to home. Now, let's make the connection between our sighting and the turnout. Now, if you remember, back here in settings, we set our minimum radius. So keep that in mind as we're doing this. So on this piece of rail, if you put your mouse where you think, okay, let's try right here to cut the rail. So we're going to right click on this. And then down here, as you can see, there's a lot of options here, but we're going to go down here to cut flex here. So go ahead and click that. And then all of a sudden now you see this break. Now we're going to get this into the rail. We're going to click it with the left mouse button and hold it. And as you can see, I can move that little chunk of track anywhere I want to. We're going to bring it down here. There's our blue dots for connecting, and let go. Now, as you can see, there is 2 red lines here. That is letting me know that these curves are greater than a 30-inch minimum radius. So, or whatever you have set as your minimum radius. So I know that this cut point is not going to work. So we're going to go back here and go undo that, and just keep clicking undo until it gets rid of your cut point. Let's go back here. Let's try cutting the flex here. All right, click, hold, and then connect. Okay, that's pretty close. Now that we've got that, we're going to want to go to this remaining piece of flex. Click on that. Then you're going to want to hit this glue button. So let's glue that. Now you'll see these little plus signs, one right here, one right here. These will allow us to adjust the flex or the curve. As you can see, I'm moving it in and out. You can move it, up and down a little bit, but not too much. I'm basically bringing it out so that way I can get rid of. I know, okay, that's within my 30-inch minimum radius on that one. I'm going to bring this one out so that way I get rid of that red line there. Now I know that this is now great. It's not going to tell me exactly what it is, but it is greater than 30 inches. So that is done. That end is done. So let's go ahead and then we'll click on this. The reason we glued this, I'll show you why. Let's go back. All right. So here we got to connect it. Now if I try moving this without this glued, it's going to move this track. See that? See how that track is moving? There we go. No, yeah, now we can really. So it's basically that cut is a hinge point, and we don't want that to happen. So we're going to go ahead and go back, and then by gluing this, there, now that won't happen. I can sit there, drag this out, and there. Yeah, you got to be careful there. You don't want to. There, now I got rid of it. Now, if there was another turnout here, it will not do that. You don't need to glue it. The turnout is in a fixed position. It will not flex the turnout. Okay, so we're going to go back here, unglue it. Now, let's make this end of the sighting exactly the same as this. So we're going to click on that, do a right click, come down here to copy. Then we're going to click over here anywhere in your work surface, right click, and then paste it. Now, this is obviously not going to work right here, so what we're going to do is we're going to click on this, and then either up here in your menu, or you can just right click the piece and flip it. Boom, there we go. So we're going to click this piece with the left mouse button and hold and drag it over here to the turnout. There's our connection points. There. Now we have got this exact same piece over here. Now, I'm going to get this and click and drag this end, and I'm going to connect it to this piece right here. There. Now we have got a passing sighting from our main line. And now we're good to go for this. So you have just now, practiced this, and now you have just made a passing sighting. All right, now we'll step this up just a little bit. So if you wanted to do the whole same, let's get a copy this whole piece and paste it, and we'll drag it down here. Now we're going to delete this. There we go. Now I'm going to show a little trick here. That's maybe a little bit more advanced, but let's say that we want to have our passing sighting code 70 instead of code 83. So we're going to add a parallel flex at 3 inches, just like we did before. However, we're going to click on this and copy it, and we're going to paste it anywhere. Doesn't matter, just somewhere in your work surface. We're going to click and drag and put it down here. There. Now we're going to get this one and delete it. Then we're going to come up here and back to our track libraries. Let's grab a piece of Microengineering code 70 flex. So there's HO code 70. All right. Here is 106. This is their 36-inch flex code 70. There it is. So what we're going to do is we know that original piece was 60 inches. So we're going to come up here, straight flex, make it 60 inches long. Then what we're going to do is we're going to connect it here, and then we know exactly where that, so now we know this is exactly at 3-inch center line spacing. We'll click on that, and we can delete that piece of track. So that's just a little tool right there, a little tip for how to do that. And then we're going to go through the same process that we did up there, where we're going to cut this flex, connect it, then glue it. Let's get these angles right so that it's within our 36-inch. All right, that's a bad cut. We're just going to keep going back until there. Let's cut it here. There we go. All right, let's glue that. Then we're going to align these so that way they're within our 30-inch minimum radius. So too much. There. Now we're done. All right, so we're going to unglue this, and then just like we did before, copy and paste, and then we're going to flip it, put it on this end, click, drag, connect. There. Now our passing sighting is in, as you can see down here, code 70 Microengineering. So now we got a code 70 sighting and a code 83 mainline. Okay, now that we've got these, let's. I'm going to show you structures as a part of this introduction. So that way you know, since we added it over here in our layers. So let's go over that real quick. All right, so we need to add ourselves a spur. So let's go back here to track libraries and go to our fast tracks, code 83. Or well, it just has a fast track. You actually determine the code by the jig. All right, so we're going to do a number 6 right hand. Now let's go left hand here. Yeah, that'll work. All right, so we want to insert that number 6 left hand right here to add an industrial spur. So we're going to go over here and right click on that cut point. Hit disconnect. This gets a little tricky. It takes some getting used to on this. So we're going to go ahead and drag. Oh, yep, see I dragged the wrong one. So if you do that accidentally, just click the undo button up here. The other thing you can do is actually disconnect both. Now we can click on this piece and actually drag it out of there. Let's add this turnout, and then let's put this piece back in here. And just like before, get on the end here, click, and you can click and drag it and reconnect it. There. Now we've got a turnout in here for our industrial spur. Now, let's say we want it to be, then let's go 2 inches on the track between tracks on center line. So let's add a flex parallel at 2 above it. Hit OK. Well, that didn't exactly work like I wanted. Add parallel 2 inches above. Well, that's a new one. I'm not exactly sure why it's doing that. So let's copy. Okay, let's go ahead and let's add this industrial spur for this. So let's click on this piece and let's go with a 2-inch for that one. So we're going to go ahead and put 2 in here, have it above it, click OK. Now we've got our industrial spur. Now we need to cut in a turnout. So we got our number 6 left hand here, and then just like before, we're gonna get that disconnected, move that out of the way. All right, so we're gonna move this into place and connect that, and we're gonna get this piece, and we're gonna put it in there. Click and whoops, let's undo. There we go. There we go. Now we can move that in. Then we're going to cut this flex here, and let's cut it about here. You can click on this, and let's delete it. We don't need that, so hit the delete key. Then let's click and drag, and let's see if we can, nope, that didn't exactly work. So what you can do is you can cut here, click on that little piece and delete it, and then get this end and stretch it over. Alright, just like before, we're going to glue this, and we're going to clean this up just a little bit. Didn't look exactly right. There we go, that looks a little better. Now we're going to unglue it. So now we've got an industrial spur. So let's go over buildings real quick. So you got a couple different options. You got object libraries. These are the ones that AnyRail has put in. So you know, we'll click here on Walters. They've got a few here. That if you hold your mouse over it, it'll tell you what it is. Like this one's a Spray House. Here's a modern roundhouse, and looks like they got some turntables. So it's very limited. However, if we go to here to user objects, these are where users of this program have actually outlined or made a structure and uploaded it to the program, so that way everybody can get access to it. Now to get those, you want to periodically click this here, download new items. I don't know, I usually do about once a month, something like that, to see who is uploaded new items. Now, for the most part, I have not had any problems with what users have uploaded. They're pretty close to exactly the way that kit is, and it makes it really handy for planning, for adding your spurs, or distance between tracks and whatnot. So yeah. Oh, whoops. Oh, we'll cancel that. We'll upgrade. We'll updo that later, because it looks like there's some in there. I need to do that. All right. So here is where it says HO, because that's what we've collected in our options underneath file. We are going to, you can see there is a bunch of manufacturers, like these BLMA. These are ones that I did. I did some signals. These are exactly to scale what the actual real BLMA signal is. Or well, now that it's Atlas. Hopefully Atlas re-releases those, because BLMA, those were awesome. We'll see what happens in the future here with that. Anyway, so as you click through, these are alphabetical. So, you got DPM and yeah, Hornby. Whoever, whatever, different kits that you want to lifelike and model power. I mean, yeah, they got a lot of them. Now, some of them may only have a couple items. Like if we go and click Rick's products, these only got 3. There's only been 3 items made by another individual who uploaded them. The most you'll find is Walters. Matter of fact, it even takes a little bit for it to come in. We're going to close the track library. Okay, not every kit is in here that Walters has ever built. Just a few. There's quite a few in here, but as time goes on, users keep adding more and more. So we're going to click on this here for the Walters HO. And use your scroll button on your mouse, and you can scroll down to see that there's a whole bunch of different ones that people have added. And like I said, they're constantly more and more being added all the time. And like I say here, we got Medusa Cement Company. So let's go ahead and just add that there. As you can see, someone's done a really nice job in outlining everything, especially right where that cover is, where that track, or where the track goes underneath that shed. So we're going to click, hold, and drag, and we can put that right over top. Now, 2-inch, that might be a little close. So 2-inch track center may not work right there. We may have to actually go with 3. But that's the beauty of having this structure. I know I want this kit right here, and this gives you a chance to see, you know what? Ooh, I don't think I've got enough clearance. So I need to actually make this on a 3-inch track center, or 3-inch, track center for a parallel track instead of 2. So you go back, redo it, make your adjustments, and then you know that can work. So this right here, this little thing, could save you a massive headache once you start building your layout. Just this one little design thing here that we came across. Then you can go back over here, and there's oh yeah, so we had worked on this. So you got to come back here, click up here at Walters HO up here at the top to indicate. Oh, let's go back one. See our layers? We're still on track. If so, this building, you can click on it and see up here with the layer, it tells you what layer it's on. I don't want that on track. I want it on structures. So you can click this drop down menu, click on structures. Now that will always be there. Now if I don't want that there to redo work on my track, remember, excuse me, we need to make this a 3-inch. Let's go over here. We can click the light bulb. Boom, it's gone because that is no longer there. I can make my adjustments, click the structure layer back on, and then I can make a click and drag the Medusa cement to where I need it to be to work just perfectly through this. So now we can, you can whatever, and you can scroll through, take a look at all these, see what people have done. Some people, they're modified, so make sure you take a look real close at them, and then that way, it's someone's, see here. Oh, there we go. What do we got here? Oh, the industry office. So you can have a little office there, whatever. Everyone kind of has done it differently on these structures, but that's how. Then once you let's delete this. I'll show you what you need to do. So now that we know we are going to be working with structures, you want to double click this, or not? I'm sorry, not double click, single. So it's green. Now you know anything you add, it's going to be in that structures. And just to verify, you can look up here at the layer, and it will tell you what layer that is in. There. Now we got a little office, industrial office building there. So that concludes the intro to AnyRail as far as getting you started. If you have questions, please put that in the comments down below, and I will do my best to answer them in a timely manner. If you like it, please like, or dislike it, that too. And also feel free to subscribe for future videos on AnyRail and other things that we're going to be doing here on the High Desert Division. Thanks for watching, and happy modeling.